Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the Steinke Physical Education Center on the campus of Texas A&M University, Kingsville, here in Kingsville, Texas, where this evening the Javelina Sports Network presents Texas A&M-Kingsville Javelina's basketball. Another Lone Star Conference doubleheader this evening as the Javelinas will take on the UT Permian Basin Falcons. My name is Mark, and Sarah, thank you for tuning in on this Thursday night, late in the Lone Star Conference season. And for the Javelinas, this is their second to last home doubleheader of the season. And both of them taking on UT Permian Basin squads as each program attempted to make a push for the postseason. The Lone Star Conference tournament is about 2 weeks away. And all four teams that are here in Kingsville tonight trying to secure a berth in LSC postseason play. The Javelina men right now are in the field, and they can clinch with a win this evening. The Javelina women, they have a little bit of work to do. They right now are tied for the 8th spot in the LSC, and as you may or may not know, the top 8 teams get into the conference tournament. The Javelinas have the same conference record, 5-11, as the Western New Mexico Mustangs, who will be here on Saturday. The Javelinas do have a head-to-head advantage, having beaten Western New Mexico in Silver City earlier this season. Western has a overall record that is one game better, 9-15 compared to the 9-14, excuse me, compared to the 8-15 that the Javelinas currently own. But Tamilk obviously with a chance to change that this weekend. The good news for the Javelinas is that Western New Mexico is playing Angelo State tonight, the number 2 team in the Lone Star Conference. So if the Javelinas beat UT Permian Basin this evening, chances are excellent they will have a full game lead as well as a head-to-head advantage against the Mustangs going into Saturday's matchup. Javelinas are trying to shake off what has become a 7-game losing streak, and that losing streak continued on Saturday. It was a hard-fought game against the top team in the conference, 20th-ranked West Texas, but the Javelinas fell by a score of 76-66. The star of that game has been the player who has been the most on-point scorer for the Javelinas so far this season, or I should say, over the course of the last month, and that was Chloe Lane. Lane has topped 15 points in 5 of her last 7 games. She's averaging nearly 15 points a game over the course of those contests. And she has picked up the slack for the Javelinas with the previous leading scorer in the conference, Brene Thompson, slowing down a little bit. Teams have really started to key on all the things that Thompson does well. And Lane has really taken on the mantle of the top scorer for this team over the course of the last few weeks. Thompson still as dangerous as ever, averaging 15.4 points a game. She's 5th in the LSC as far as scoring is concerned. She's hit 20 points 7 times. But as I mentioned, it's slowed down a little bit recently. That average over the last 5 games is at 10.8. And she was held to 7 against West Texas on starting lineup is being introduced right now, beginning with UT Permian Basin, and I'll give you UTPB's starters. UTPB coached by Ray Booth in her 2nd season, assisted by Sam Brenner. And beginning with the starting guards for UTPB, Sarah Bursang, a 5'7" senior guard from Horsens, Denmark. Number 13, Christian James, a 5'6" sophomore guard from Livingston, Texas. And China Rivera, number 14, a 5'6" senior guard from Austin, Texas. The two forwards in the lineup for Coach Booth are Kaylee Pippins-Tryon, a 5'8" senior forward from Dallas, Texas, and number 40, Juliet Akinwole, a 6'2" redshirt sophomore forward from Dallas, Texas. The starters for Wade Scott's Javelinas at the guard spots are Danielle Metter, number 2, Danielle Metter, a 5'10" junior guard from Corpus Christi, Texas. Number 22, Brene Thompson, a 5'7" junior guard from Houston, Texas. And Rachel Taps, a 5'8" junior guard from Cypress Ranch, Texas. The two forwards for Coach Scott, Chloe Lane, a 5'11" senior guard from Kansas City, Missouri, and Brianna Solis, a 5'9" redshirt freshman from San Angelo, Texas. Wade Scott is assisted by DJ Slifer, who's in his 3rd season here, and Misha Wade, who's in season number 2 as Wade Scott's graduate assistant. UTPB again coming in looking for their 5th overall win of the year and their 2nd in the LSC. The Javelinas trying to help themselves secure a spot in the LSC tournament for the 2nd time in 3 seasons. The Javelinas made it and made a little bit of noise back in 2017. They missed it in 2018. Here in 2019, they're trying to get back into the postseason. Kaylee Pippins-Tryon really is the top player in this UTPB lineup. She averages better than 13 points per game. She's just outside the top 10 in the conference in scoring. And she had 19 against the Javelinas back on January 19th. Solis against Akinwole for the opening tip. 10 minutes on the clock. And we're underway. Opening tip, one back to Bursang. UTPB averaging better than 50, just over 57 points per game. Their field goal percentage for the year stands at 36%. Inside for the layup is Christian James, and UTPB breaks the ice on the opening possession. Javelinas offense run by Rachel Taps, who will occasionally be subbed out for the sophomore Reve Payne. Thompson into the paint, backs off her defender, trying to use the glass. Rebound, and putback won't go by Solis, who draws the foul. And Brianna Solis, one of the most fundamentally sound players in the Lone Star Conference, especially in the paint. And on that play, didn't have a height advantage on the player who was guarding her. She just put herself in a perfect position to snag that rebound, and quickly Akinwole, after picking up her first foul, goes to the bench. So Lee's at 67% coming in today, ups that number just a little bit as she evens the score at 2. Out of the corner, 3 won't go by Alexandria Washington. James gets the rebound. Pippins-Tryon, left for Bursang. The senior on the wing. 3 no good from Lamia in Tutway. Ball thrown to the front court for Brianna Solis. Solis trying for the rebound. Wild shot, no good. And the Falcons want to run into the front court. Bursang. Rivera taking her time. Pippins-Tryon back to China Rivera. Good defense by Metter, has to give it up for James. James scored the first 2 points of the night for the Falcons. Bursang will hit a 3. Bursang, a 25% three-point shooter, but got that one to go down. UTPB at 27% on the season from beyond the arc. And that puts them at the bottom of the LSC. 3 from Lane, won't go. Rebound tips to Pippins-Tryon. And Bersane gets the play from Ray Booth. Booth, in her second year as a head coach, as I mentioned, spent 7 seasons coaching at Friends University. Of course, an overall mark of 159.67. Took that team to the national tournament multiple times. Inside for the layup, but a travel by Intutway will turn it over. Here is Taps, the junior from Cypress Ranch. Lane trying to keep her scoring touch of Leighton. Metter inside for the layup, too strong. Right there is Solis for the putback. James will go to the free throw line. Akinwole fighting for the rebound, comes to Metter. Javelina's trailing by a point, looking for their first lead of the game. Metter lost it, but it comes to Lane. I don't know if she meant to do it or if it was just good luck. But as it is, Thompson will can that one. Left open is Pippin's try on, no good. Right underneath for the rebound is James. Can't keep her feet, and the travel will give the ball back to the blue and gold. Falcons did a pretty decent job against Thompson the first time these teams played. She had 16 points, mostly because she was 7 of 8 from the free throw line, but she only hit 4 of 11 that day. Taps for the layup, using the glass to perfection. Rachel Taps is on the board. It's 8-5. Javelina's quickly to James in the front court for Intutway. Trying to go up, and layup too strong. Lane. Metter. Thompson out of the corner. Taps goes right back up. Couldn't get the roll. Gets her own rebound. Loose ball stolen by Rivera. Wants to run. Only Lane is back. Pippin's trying with the layup. And she's on the score sheet for the first time. Taps. Too strong. Does draw the foul. She'll go to the free throw line. That foul against Rivera. The second on the Falcons. And Taps shoot two. Taps at 57%. And these obviously will be 2 shots. Give you a look at how the LSC standings line up. As first free throw is good for Taps, and Christina Kanya checks in for Chloe Lane. Taya Morris, Jada Berry in for UTPB. Now Nicole Hutchins, will come in for Brianna Solis. 3 teams in the logjam at the top of the LSC. West Texas, Angelo, and Eastern New Mexico, all at 13-3. Then you have Tarleton and Commerce at 11-5, fighting over those 4th and 5th spots. Ball out off of the Javelinas. Midwestern State owning the 6th spot there, 7-10. They picked up a victory on Tuesday over Cameron. That's followed by Texas Women's at 6-10. They occupy the 7th spot. The Javelinas in Western New Mexico, as I mentioned, fighting over 8th as Kaylee Pippin's try-on with a 2-pointer ties this game up at 9. Cameron at the number 10 slot at 4-12. And we get a whistle and a foul against Jada Berry. Cameron at 4-13, I should say. 7-18 overall. And then UTPB at the bottom, occupying the conference's 11th place spot. Thompson for Metter. Metter looking for her first points. Offensive foul drawn by Pippin's try-on. She played a huge role in this team's victory, their first conference victory, which was exactly a week ago against Cameron. She had 24 points in that game. And she followed it up with 31 against Midwestern State on Saturday. Layup over Metter is good in the foul. And she'll take an 81% free throw percentage to the line. And we take a media timeout at the 4:59 mark. 2-point game, UTPB. The early lead with plenty of basketball to be played. This is the Javelina Sports Network. Just a shade under 5 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. UTPB with an 11-9 lead over the Timuc Javelinas in the second and last home game of the season for the Hogs. They'll play on senior day on Saturday here against Western New Mexico. The two seniors, Christina Kanya and Chloe Land, will both be honored before the game. And Pippins try and complete this three-point play and put the Falcons ahead by 3. And Pippins trying already with 7 points. The Falcons hitting 5 of their first 10 shots in this ball game. And that'll be the second foul against Jada Berry. And that will send her to the bench real quick. Alexandria Washington will check in for Berry. And Rachel Taps will inbound it for the Javelinas. Reve Payne checked in for Metter during the break. Lane now for Kanya. Back to Lane. One senior to the other. UTPB playing tight defense on the perimeter. Taps. Kanya for Lane. Payne wants to go inside. The double team arrives. Reve passing out of traffic. Off the hand of Kanya, out of bounds to the Falcons. And now Bursang will bring it up. She has the only 3 we've had so far in this ball game.
You gotta move it, Kepi.
Akin Wole on the inside. Washington driving on Payne. Turnaround jumper won't go. Hutchins snags the rebound. Gives it up to, she almost gave it up to nobody and almost got nailed for a travel. But the Javelinas into the front court. Reve Payne trying to work on Bursang. Kanya. Inside for Taps. Pass off of Bursang out of bounds to the Javelinas with 13 to shoot. Taps, formerly of UTEP, in her first season here with Timuc. Reve Payne trying to get it inside to Hutchins. 5 seconds to shoot. Pass for Taps, can't get the handle. Out for Lane, has to shoot. And Lane just seemed to be unaware of the shot clock, and a shot clock violation gives the ball up to the Falcons. And Pippins trying, just dribbling to the bench to get a word of advice from her coach. Heads up the floor and gives it up to Taya Morris. Morris, one of the freshmen on this team, 1 of 5, and that one will go out of bounds. UTPB maintains possession. Brene Thompson back into the game. And one of the referees probably going to let Thompson tuck in her uniform, and just as quickly as I mentioned it, it's taken care of. Bersang to Pippin's Tryon. Inside Akinwole, trying to play defense is Hutchins. Shot off the iron and it finds the twine. Akinwole on the score sheet for the first time. 5-point lead for the Falcons. Thompson goes right to the basket and chips away at it. 4 points for her. Junior from Houston in her breakout season in blue and gold. And the great news for Javelina fans is you get one more year of Brene Thompson in 2019-20. Pippin's Tryon over Thompson. Can't answer with the three. Akinwole in position for the rebound. Gives it up to Bersang. Washington swinging it right for Morris. Plenty of time to shoot with the reset on the shot clock. Bersang over Kanya for 2. Bersang with 5 points. She had a 20-point day against Cameron back on January 12th. Thompson goes down, and off to the races is Bersang. Pippin's Tryon will lay it up and in, but Thompson's still down, and the concern far more for the health of Brene Thompson than for anything basketball related. 9 points now for Pippin's Tryon, and UTPB meeting right in front of us, as you can probably hear via the crowd mic. We'll take a quick break and come right back. This is Javelina basketball. Thompson still down on the floor, an obvious discomfort as she slumped to her feet. And a round of applause from the fans in attendance. 2:21 to go in the first quarter. A 7-point lead for the Falcons by a score of 18-11. And one of the student trainers, Chase Britt, off the bench to help Thompson off the floor. So Payne, Kanya, Solis, Taps, and Lane. Now the 5 in the game for the Javelinas. UTPB ahead by 7. This is the largest lead by either team.
Get up, KP.
Javelinas have only led for 90 seconds so far in this game. Kanya into the corner. UTPB committed to trying to double the Javelinas when they have the basketball. Trying to force turnovers. Kanya will try a 3. Rebound comes right back to Lane. Lane goes straight inside and uses the glass for a deuce. Bersang on the floor with Intutwe and Morris, as well as Pippin's Tryon and China Rivera. Inside, great cut and pass. Bersang, though, can't complete the play with the layup. Payne across half court, left for Taps. That 3 won't go. Pippin's Tryon the rebound. Bersang up the court for the Falcons, who are still shooting just over 47%. Left wide open is Morris. Can't convert. Solis for Payne. Solis already with 4 rebounds in this game. Kanya for Taps. And we get a whistle, and that'll be a foul against the black and orange. And I believe that's 2 on China Rivera, and that also puts the Falcons over the limit for these last 71 seconds. Andrea Washington getting ready to check in. That's 2 Falcons who already have 2 fouls. We're not even through one quarter. Jada Berry is the other. 2 shots for Taps. First one is good as Washington and Christian James come back in. Javelina is trying to find a way to spark a run here late in the first quarter. Taps converts on both of them. 5 points for her. James for Pippin's try-on. Leading scorer so far in this game already at 9. Guarded by Taps. Out for Bersang. Bersang wants to go on Payne. Now a whistle and an offensive foul. And they get Bersang on Taps. Rachel Taps drawing the foul. Check that. I believe the call is an offensive 3 seconds. No foul to turn it over. Taps for Lane and a 3-point game pass off of the Falcons. I think Taps was trying to get that to Solis, but the 2 players weren't on the same page. And so with 43 seconds, each team with a possession left at the very least in this quarter. Bersang across half court. Pippin's try-on. The 31% 3-point shooter will try the jumper, blocked by Taps. Loose ball comes to Kanya. Shot clock turned off. Ahead to Rachel Taps. Hogs can hold for the last shot. Taps avoiding the pressure now for Reve Payne. Payne wants to go right inside, an air ball. And the ball can't be saved. And Payne maybe a little bit overly ambitious on that possession. And now with 14 seconds to go. Oh, check that. Possession does stay with the Javelinas. My mistake. Into Taps. Almost lost it. Or check that into Payne. Now out to Taps for a 3. And she gets drilled by Tutway. Shot no good, but she'll shoot 3 free throws. That's 1 on Lamia Tutway. And here is Taps for a trio from the charity stripe. Akinwole getting ready to check in for the Falcons.
Colby, you buzz it after the second.
So Taps, this is her 3rd trip to the charity stripe. And so far she is 4 of 5. And that puts her at 7 points on the day. Lydia Giral getting ready to check in for the Javelinas. Taps. Hits all 3 of them. 8 points for her. And just 2 points away from reaching double figures for the 6th time this season. And now we have a tie ball game. This is a 7-0 run for Chimook. Falcons trying to end this quarter by getting the lead back. Bersang on Payne. Out. James can't convert at the buzzer. And we'll cap the first quarter, all tied up, 18 all. The last 7 points to the Javelinas. In the quarter with plenty of momentum. We go to the second, all tied up. We'll be right back. All square are these 2 sides with 1 quarter in the books. Rachel Taps with 3 late free throws. She's got 8 points, even this score at 18. Habs on a 7-0 run to close this frame. Kaylee Pippins-Tryon with 9 points to lead all players so far. And Brianna Solis already well on her way to matching her average of 7.2 rebounds per game. That's a mark that has her 9th in the Lone Star Conference. And Lane inbounding it to get the quarter started. Kanya for Reve Payne. Inside to Solis. Great awareness by Payne as Akinwole stopped guarding Solis but left a little bit of a window for a pass. Solis has 6 points and the Javelinas on a 9-0 run to take the lead. Akinwole. James guarded by Giral. That jumper's off the mark. James tried to get her own rebound, so Lees was there instead. Payne quickly in the front court, lost possession. Now picks it up and gives it up to Kanya. Giral in the corner. Inside, Solis wants to work in the paint. Shot blocked. Akinwole to Pippins-Tryon. Bersang now with it. Taya Morris. Pippins-Tryon again. Inside Akinwole against Solis. Shot no good, and Solis tips the rebound to herself. Javelina possession again. UTPB 8 of 22. Kanya out of the corner. 3 won't go. Perfect position, though, is Lane. Lane will try a 3. Rebounded by Solis. And Bersang is called for a foul. And Ray Booth furious at her team for not finding a way to get that rebound. That foul against Bersang is her first, and that's the first of the second quarter. UTPB started 5 of 10. Since then, they're 3 of 12. The Javelina 6 of 19 overall. Just 1 of 10 combined between these two teams from 3, but 9 of 10 from the free throw line. 18 rebounds for Tamook, including 9 on the offensive glass, 10 for the visitors. Kanya on Pippins-Tryon. Pass to Payne. Deflected, but Payne grabs it. Heads straight inside. The floater is no good. But she will go to the free throw line. That's 1 on Taya Morris. And the Falcons started this game with a rhythm on offense, creating good shots and playing defense as well, but the Javelinas have taken over the course of these last about 4 minutes. Payne's second at 2, no good. Javelina lead is 3. That matches their largest so far in the early moments of this game. Pippins-Tryon right to the basket, too strong. Akinwole tries to snag that rebound, tips it out of bounds. And Lane to Payne. Now trying to continue building on this second quarter lead. Critical game for the Javelinas in the Lone Star Conference standings, as I mentioned. A win in all likelihood gives the Javelinas an important edge heading into Saturday's game against Western New Mexico. Giral to Reve Payne, 5 to shoot. Giral, she'll just try the 3 and nail it. Javelinas ahead by 6. Morris on the wing. Akinwole. And UTPB trying to overcome a little bit of a stagnant stretch on offense. A bucket and a foul. That's a good way to do it. Sarah Bersang with a chance at a 3-point play. .68% foul shooter. And she can't make this one possession game, but Christian James for the rebound. 6th offensive rebound of the game for UTPB. Pippins-Tryon no good, and Reve Payne with the board that time. Payne tries to slow down. Looked like she got hit, but there was no foul. Payne has that one kicked out of bounds by Pippin's try-on. And that'll give Tamuk an important opportunity to reset as Alexandria Washington comes in. Payne for Lane to the corner for Giral. Lane for Payne. The corner for Kanya will try a three. Nothing but net. Kanya's on the board with her first 3 points. The Javelina lead is up to 7. And a travel will give the ball right back to the Javelinas. Taps comes in for Giral. Hannah Alcoin makes her first appearance as Reve Payne will get a quick breather on the bench. Javelina run now is 16-2. Taps. Lane. Trying to get to Solis, but I think Lane thought Solis was going to stay put, and Solis made a cut as if she was clearing out the lane for Chloe Lane, no pun intended. Javelina's lucky to keep possession now with 16 to shoot. Taps, trying to find an open teammate, does get to Solis, and all that does is allow Tamuk a fresh 5 seconds to inbound it. Taps with 8 points so far in this game. And in Tutway back into the game, replacing Akin Wole. Taps for Lane. Lane almost lost it. Ball still loose, and now it's grabbed by Solis. Solis trying to get her away from the jump ball. Layup won't go, and now Pippin's trying with it, moving into the front court. Bersang driving on Alcoin. The floater is perfect. 9 points for her. Taps for Lane. Back to Rachel Taps. 5-point game and 10 offensive foul is called. Looked like Taps got hit from behind by Tutway before the contact was made with the player under the basket. And Payne comes in for Solis. And now, in fact, we believe we're going to get a timeout by Wade Scott, the 5:44 mark. 5-point game. We'll take a break and be right back. (27-22) our score. As we are closing in on the midway point of the second quarter, the Javelinas with a 5-point lead over the UT Permian Basin Falcons. Hogs trying to break a 7-game losing streak. And a victory today in all likelihood would put them in place to take home the final spot in the Lone Star Conference tournament. As we have another busy Thursday night in the LSC. In Tutway, Pippin's Tryon, and James, the first 3 out of the huddle for the Falcons. As Washington and Bersang back in the backcourt for the inbounds play. Touts, Kanya, Alcoin, Payne, and Chloe Lane on the floor as Bersang brings it up. James for Pippin's Tryon against Kanya. Shot over Kanya off the iron. Taps can't corral the rebound, but it's last off of Bersang to the Javelinas. Pippin's trying and Bersang have not seen the bench so far in this game. They played all 14, going on 15 minutes. Out for Kanya. And Kanya traveled before she got the shot off. Kanya unhappy with the call. But it's a turnover to UTPB. Only 4 players have scored for the Falcons. Bersang and Pippin's trying each have 9. James and Akinwole with a pair each. Pass knocked away by Payne, out of bounds. Falcons maintain possession with 17 to shoot. Bersang for Pippin's try-on. And Bersang calling for the ball. Pippin's try-on, unwilling to give it up. Being guarded by Taps. Driving for the layup, no good, but the blocking foul will put her at the free throw line. That's the first foul against Rachel Taps. That's also the third against the Javelinas here in the quarter. And as I mentioned, Pippin's trying an 81% foul shooter, will shoot 2. And she's in double figures now with 10, the first player to reach that plateau. Her 17th game in double figures this season. And she is a volume shooter. She's already taken 10 shots in this game. Second one rims out. Pippin's trying has taken 20-plus shots 3 times this season. She's well on her way to making that 4 this evening. Kanya. Inside has the layup blocked. Falcons running into the front court. Trying to make this a one-possession game. Pippin's try-on can't get up from the free throw line. James crashing in for the rebound. Draws a foul. And that is number 1 on Chloe Lane. Alexis Moore checking in for the first time. Bersang getting instruction from Ray Booth by the bench. James heads in. Back out to Bersang, trying to get her scoring total in double figures. She'll try from the free throw line. That one rims out. Rebound almost grabbed by James. Instead it comes to Moore. Moore throws it out. Bersang will try again. Bersang will try a 3 and hit it. And just like that, we've got a 1-point game. Bersang with her second 3-pointer of the day. She's hit 2 of the 3 from the long distance for the Falcons. Lane inside. The floater doesn't get the roll. Lane being held to just 2 points so far. Quickly, Christian James in the front court. Bersang will try a 3 again. That one is way long, but rebounded by the visitors. Moore can't hit that one. Gets her own rebound. Pass to no one. Bersang chases it down. But the referee saying she hit the baseline. Booth was emphatic that she didn't, but the referee will give possession to the Javelinas nonetheless in a 1-point game. Lydia Giral back in for Temuk. Giral has seen a lot more playing time as of late. She played 20 minutes against Angelo State in Temuk's last home game. Payne, the corner for Giral. Payne for Giral. Lane with 10 to shoot. Out for Payne. Havs trying to find a shot. Taps with 3. Taps goes right in and finishes the possession with a layup. 10 points for her. And the Javelina lead back to 3.
You got the flare. Flare pop. Go. 5. Flare pop. 5.
Bersang with 12. This is the Pippin's Tryon, who has 10. Inside. Akinwole layup won't go. Batted out by Moore. Bersang right in for a jumper. Won't go. Udall gets the board. And Payne content to slow it down, if only for a moment. Lane. Driving in, lost possession. Gets it back in time for the layup. And Lane now with 4. 4 straight points for the Javelinas. Bersang in the Falcon offense. Trying to get back into a rhythm. Moore misses the 3. And another offensive board for the Falcons, who have been crashing on the boards these last few minutes. Akinwole for an easy 2. And back and forth we go. Plenty of offense here in the second quarter. Reve Payne will add to it with 3. She's got 4 points. Tamook with a 16-10 advantage here in the second quarter after these teams ended the first quarter tied at 18. Moore in for Akinwole, batted away by Lane. Ball loose, snagged by Taps. Taps wants to head right and out for the trailer. Payne no good. Udall for the rebound, and she draws a foul. That's 1 on Alexis Moore. The clock is okay. Might have let an extra second or 2 tick off, but 6-point lead. Udall, as Angelica Wall and Brianna Solis come in for the Javelinas. I think the referee's going to go back to the replay monitor to check on the time. As that was the 3rd team foul against the Falcons. And the Tamook assistant, DJ Slifer. And there we go. Everything is back to normal. 55.6 on the clock. Payne. And a poor pass easily stolen by James. Bersang into the front court for Christian James. Underneath. Layup no good. Pippin's trying, goes right back up and does draw the foul. And she'll shoot 2. It was in Tutway who missed the initial layup, but Pippin's trying there for the board. And UTPB has been piling up offensive rebounds here in the second quarter. They have 8 now. And they're at rebounding their hosts 13-10. And Pippin's Tryon, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe. She's got 11. She can bring her team within 4 points. That one's no good. Payne. With Solis inside. Payne in for Solis, batted away by Christian James. (17 to shoot, 33.1 on the clock. So again, time for 1 possession for each team. Payne. Out for Udall. Lane guarded by James. Javelinas content to take their time, 10 seconds to shoot. Lane, who has 4 points, goes right inside. Shot too strong. Bersang ahead. UTPB plenty of time to slow it down, and that's exactly what the senior will do. Bersang played 22 games for the Idaho Vandals last year before coming to Odessa. Pippin's Tryon inside, and a foul is called with 4.4. That's the second on Udall. And Pippin's Tryon for a pair. Can make this a 3-point game. (12 points for her. senior forward who transferred from Lamar University. And a second free throw would make her the team leader in points so far. She's got 13. That is right at her season average. Payne into the front court. Launches it from half court. No good. And we'll go to the locker room. A 3-point game here at the Spec. And some pretty even basketball being played through the first 20 minutes. A 34-31 lead as we head to the half. You're watching the Javelina Sports Network's coverage of Temuco women's basketball. We'll be right back. Halftime here at the Steinke Physical Education Center on a 34-31 lead for the Javelinas. As you can see the stats on the screen, Javelinas with a little bit of an edge in each shooting category, both from the floor, 37.9 compared to 32.4 for UTPB. Temuco 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, while UTPB is 2 of 10. And the Javelinas also very efficient from the free throw line, hitting 9 of their 11 attempts. UTPB really made up what was a pretty substantial gap in rebounding in the second quarter. Right now, the team's only separated by 2 boards, 25-23 in favor of the Javelinas, and the Falcons also 8 offensive boards in the second quarter. They used those to pick up 6 second chance points, and that's one of the big reasons that the Falcons are still in this game. It's because they really did an outstanding job in the second half of cutting in or just being in position for offensive boards over the course of the second quarter. The Javelinas did outscore them by 3 after the first quarter ended tied. But still a close game as we hit the half here at the Spec. 9 turnovers for the Javelinas through 1.5 of play compared to 6 for the Falcons. And for the Javelinas, Rachel Taps, the leading scorer with 10 points. Renee Thompson and Chloe Lane, who have really been the 2 players you've come to expect to score for this offense, with only 4 points to their credit. Lane shooting 2 of 6 and Thompson 2 of 4. But Taps and Solis have been the 2 players at the top of their game for the Javelinas so far. Taps with 10 points has gotten to the free throw line 3 times. She's 6 of 7 from the charity stripe, and Solis with 6 points and 7 rebounds. And she's closing in on what would be her 3rd double-double of the season. For UT Permian Basin, Callie Pippin-Stryon with 13 and Sarah Bursang with 12. Pippin-Stryon also with 13, also with 6 boards to go along with their point total. But still only 4 players on the score sheet for Coach Ray Booth. You have Juliet Akinwole with 4, and then Christian James has 2. Other than that, you have 5 UTPB players who have put up at least 1 shot, and combined they're 0 for 9, including 0 of 4 from 3. And the Falcons are going to need to find ways to get points from other sources in the second half of this game, because the Javelinas have shown an ability to penetrate and get good shots and create opportunities in this game from multiple spots. For the Falcons, trying to find a way to produce points elsewhere, especially if the Javelinas find a way to take away either Bersang or Pippins Tryon, is going to be an enormous priority over the course of the final 20 minutes of this basketball game. 34-31, once again the lead for the Javelinas. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll give you all the scores. We'll give you the scores for the games going on around the Lone Star Conference. There are 8 other teams in action on this Thursday night. We'll be right back. This is Javelina Athletics coverage of Timucua women's basketball. Other games going on around the Lone Star Conference, almost all of them with implications that affect the Javelinas. And that's probably the game with the most direct implications to Timucua. Angelo State hosting Western New Mexico. That game is at the half, and the Rams went with a 47-34 lead over the Mustangs in San Angelo. So if both of these results hold up, the Javelinas will be in sole possession of the final spot in the LSC. The other game that most directly impacts the Hogs, Texas women's visiting Cameron, and TWU ahead 39-32 as the second half is about to start in Lawton. TW is a full game ahead of the Javelinas. Those teams split the season series. But if TW loses and the Javelinas win, then Timucua would have a better overall record by half a game. That would put them essentially 7th in the LSC. Cameron, meanwhile, is, as I mentioned before, a game and a half behind the Javelinas at 4-13 in the LSC. So Javelinas would probably prefer that Cameron find a way to come back and win that game. But obviously it helps the Javelinas secure a conference spot if Cameron takes the loss tonight. But obviously still 20 minutes to go in that basketball game, a lot left. And then 2 close games between 2 of the top 5 teams in the conference. 2 teams in the top 5 in the conference, I should say. Commerce is at home. They're hosting Eastern New Mexico. That's a 1-point game. The Lions are at 26-25 with the second half moments away from beginning. And West Texas in Stephenville visiting the Tarleton Texans. They lead that game 39-32. That's a matchup between, as far as I'm concerned, the 2 most impressive teams in the conference based on what we've seen here as well as the standings. West Texas at the top of the LSC at 13-3, 21-3 overall. And then Tarleton, a team that came here to Kingsville and just dominated, a team with so many scorers, so many weapons on offense. Really difficult to slow down. And WT right now with a 2-point edge, 39-32. And that game about to come out of the second half in Stephenville. And the good news for the Javelinas about both of those teams is they don't have any games left on their schedule against them, at least in the regular season. In the postseason, there's an excellent chance the Javelinas could face West Texas, but all that, of course, remains to be hashed out. Dubuque with a 3-point lead here at the half, 34-31, over the UT Permian Basin Falcons. We'll take one more break. We'll come right back. The second half is just a few minutes away here at the Spec. Don't go away. Javelinas ahead by 3 as the teams prepare to make their way out of the halftime locker room. UT Permian Basin already on the floor warming up. And for the Javelinas, considering their top 2 scorers combined for just 8 points, having a 3-point lead at the half, probably a pretty good outcome considering Chloe Lane, who's been the hottest player on this team, and Brene Thompson, who's been the team's leading scorer all season, really haven't been able to find a rhythm offensively. Thompson got hurt in the second quarter and has not returned. And I would honestly not expect to see her back in the second half of this game. Lane, meanwhile, with 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting, still looking for her first 3-pointer of the game. She's 0 for 2. But Rachel Taps and Brianna Solis picking up the slack. Taps with 10 points. And Solis with 6 to her credit, as well as a game-high 7 rebounds. The UT Permian Basin tally, Pippin Tryon with 13. Sarah Bersang with 12. For the Falcons, I'd imagine it would be an important part of their second half game plan to try and get some of their other players going and to try and get some scoring going, scoring coming from other sources other than just those 2 members of their squad. You have Lamaya and Tutway, who averages 9 points a game, who has started the game 0 for 3, despite playing for 10 minutes. Juliet Akinwole has 4, and Christian James has 2. I'm curious to see how much Pippin Tryon and Bersang, they are the shooters on this team. Pippin Tryon averaging better than 13 points, averaging just a shade over 13 points per game. She shoots the ball a lot, but you would expect the Falcons to be trying to find ways in the second half to open up opportunities for some of the other players on this squad, as opposed to simply letting the Javelinas try and lock down 2 players. And see what the rest of the roster can do. As far as foul trouble is concerned, China Rivera and Jada Berry with 2 for UT Permian Basin. For the Javelinas, Metter, Tapson, Giral with 2 fouls. Metter's 2 fouls sidelined her for all but 5 minutes of the first half. And it was the same story for Rivera. But both starters will be back on the floor to begin the second half of play. The same 5 on the floor for each team as started the ball game. And for UT Permian Basin, that's Persang, James, Rivera, Pippin Strine, and Akinwole. For the Javelinas, that is Metter, Lane, Taps, Thompson, or check that, Payne, and Solis. And Pippin Strine inbounding it to James, and here we go. Persang to Akinwole. Lane going for the steal. Persang falls down, and a jump ball is called. The possession arrow should favor the Javelinas. After the inbound play. And ball to Tamuk. Lane. And I believe they're going to get a reach-in foul on Persang. That's 2 on her. And that is, I'm sure, a little bit quicker than Ray Booth would like to have seen Sarah Persang pick up that second foul. And we're going to get another foul, I believe, on the floor. That one goes against Pippin's Tryon. That's her first. And 20 seconds in, UT Permian Basin already has a couple fouls against them here in the third quarter. Taps. Tossing it out to Payne. Payne goes right inside. Has to swing it out to Chloe Lane for a 3, in and out. And Lane has started this game 0 for 3 on trays. Jane out to Pippin's Tryon. Rivera will try a 3. Meadow with the board. Lane ahead of everybody. Lane has to come right to get it for Payne. Has Solis open, but can do it herself. 6 points for Reve Payne. Payne had started the previous 5 games coming into tonight, but now back in essentially a starter's role after the injury to Thompson. Jumper no good. Taps the board. That's her 3rd, ahead to Reve Payne. Metter. She'll try that 3. Why not? She hits it. Her first 3 points puts Tamuk ahead by 8. That matches the team's largest lead. And a timeout scored by the Falcons. The Javelinas out of the half with the first 5 points. 88 seconds in. Timeout, UTPB. Javelinas with their starting 5 racing back onto the floor. Just in time for this inbounds play. And the Falcons looking to get off the schneid here to start the second quarter. Or check that, the third quarter. And now here we are ready to go. Pippin's Tryon will shoot it over Metter. And Chloe Lane with the board. Javelina is continuing to lead on the glass tonight. Taps. Going to work on Akinwole inside for Solis. And Solis capitalizes. Solis able to shake off Sarah Bersang. She has 8 points. And now we get an injury timeout. As Bersang makes her way to the bench. And you certainly hope she's okay. We've now seen a player for each team go out with an injury in this game. Rivera. And travels and turns it over. It's the 9th turnover of the night for the Falcons, who now trail by double figures for the first time. This is the first double figure lead we've seen for either team, and Jada Berry comes into the game. Berry looking for her first points of the day. But first, the Javelinas on offense, looking to add to a double figure lead. Lane. Taps back to Chloe Lane. Metter along the baseline. Pass to no one in particular. An easy steal for Berry. Berry will slow it down. Give it to Morris. James inside. Akinwole for 2. 6 points for her. Taps for Lane. Back to Taps, the leading scorer for Tamook tonight. Can't hit the 3. Pippin's try-on. Trying to get ahead of Metter. And Metter gets called for her 3rd foul. And Danielle Metter probably feels like she can't buy a break tonight. Just discussing with the official as far as the foul is concerned. Seems about as satisfying as you can be with an explanation after a foul you disagreed with. Christina Kanya comes back in. Kanya played 13 minutes in the first half. Pippin's trying against the newly entered senior. Corner 3 by Morris. That one's short. Rebounded though by James. Falcons have been outscored 7-2 here in the second half. Solis can't get the board. Her teammate Payne picks up the slack for a pass on the front court for Lane. Lane trying an up and under almost layup. Berry trying to get around Kanya. And they called it on Kanya. That looked like a very marginal amount of contact for that foul to be called. But against Kanya, it is her first. Each team now with 2. In Tutway inside for Pippin's try-on. Pass underneath, out of bounds off of the Falcons. And now we get a whistle inbounded again from the back court. And Bersang back into the game for UTPB. Inbounder to Taps. Taps almost traveling in the back court. Lane calmly evaluating her options. Christina Kanya can't hit that 3. James to Bersang. Bersang with 12 points. Bersang will try another 3. Make that 15 for her. That's her 3rd triple of the night. She's got all 3 from long distance for the Falcons this evening. Falcons within 5. Payne taps. Lane trying to get something started on offense. Steal for the Falcons. Versang with a 4-on-1. All the options she could ever want. Pippins try-on for 2. 15 now for the senior from Dallas. And Danielle Metter gets ready to check back in, as does China Rivera. Taps. Corner. Payne will try a 3. That one's way long. Out of bounds off of James, who just couldn't catch the air ball. Metter in for Payne. Pippins trying will go to the bench for the first time tonight. And now Akinwole replacing in Tutway, and Taya Morris comes into the game for the Falcons. She'll replace Bersang. And Alexandria Washington in for Christian James. And that bit of a nightmare for our statisticians, but I think everything's okay. Taps. Trying to get underneath for Solis. The layup too strong. Rebound stolen away by Metter. Taps back to Solis. And now we get a whistle. And the officials coming to the review monitor with 5:04 on the clock and a 41-38 game. 3-point game. Right back where we were at halftime. Falcons have scored 7 in a row to slice what was once a 10-point deficit down to 3. Both teams have had leads in this game. The Falcons are led by as many as 7. For Tamuk, that 10-point lead was the largest either team has had in this game. Javelinas with a little more time, with about 10 minutes more time in the lead. Better than 16 minutes compared to 6:43 for the Falcons. Bersang and Pippins trying each with 15. That leads all players. For the Javelinas, Rachel Taps with 10. All 10 of those in the first half. Rana Solis, 2 points and 3 rebounds away from her third double-double of the season. And it's been fairly even basketball all night. As I mentioned, each team has gotten away to a multiple possession lead, but they have just been dragged back into this game by the other team. And finally, I think we're ready to go. Taps for Solis. Solis turns around, can't get the shot to go. Pippins try on. Into the front court, Falcons with a chance to tie. We've had 3 ties in this game. This shot rebounded by Tamuk. Metter will slow it down. Taps for Chloe Lane. Lane can't hit the shot off the glass. Rivera. Akinwole calling for it inside, instead out for Morris, who can't tie it up. Another rebound for Danielle Metter. Metter driving on Pippins. Try on. Can't get the shot to go. Does draw the senior's second foul. And that's the third on the Falcons in this quarter with 4:08 to play. That shooting foul will put Metter at the line for a pair. 76% free throw shooter. And the referee is discussing whether or not this was indeed a shooting foul. And the Falcons, multiple Falcons upset with the call as the referees trying to figure out trying to make sure we get this right. And now finally we'll go to the monitor, I believe, again, to check on that last play at the 4:08 mark. 41-38 is the score. And the referee's just trying to get this figured out, but have to say the pace of this game really has slowed to a crawl now between the reviews that we've had and the stoppages. Jamook still with a better shooting percentage than their opponents at 35% compared to 31.9. Neither team really able to find a rhythm from three. The Falcons 3 of 15. The Javelinas are 4 of 13. Jamook with 3 more rebounds, 33-30. And the referee's sticking with their call, keeping this a shooting foul. And Ray Booth beside herself at the call, but unfortunately for her, the Javelinas will still get 2 free throws, and it'll be Metter shooting them.
How does she take a dribble after the foul? How?
And they're looking to add to her total. She's at 3 points tonight. First one is up and good. Men are averaging 9 points and better than 5 rebounds a game. Had a double-double back on January 26th against Cameron. She's got 2 double-doubles to her credit this season. Out of the corner, Rivera with a huge 3. And she's on the score sheet for the first time tonight. A 2-point game now. Taps for Chloe Lane. Kanya trying to get it inside, stolen by the Falcons. Rivera will slow it down in the backcourt. Pippin's try-on. A chance for the Falcons to tie or take the lead. Akinwole no good. High for the board is Rachel Taps. Taps wants to head straight in, draws the foul. 2 free throws for her. And Taps, who owns a season high of 14, can keep closing in on that mark with 2 free throws. Coming up, we'll take a media timeout. 3:33 mark, 43-41 Javelinas. And we'll be right back with more Javelina women's basketball. Two free throws coming up for Rachel Taps after China Rivera picked up her 3rd foul of the day. That's 4 on UTPB here in the 3rd quarter. And the Falcons, who trailed by 10 at 41-31, still really in the midst of a 10-2 run. But Taps trying to help her team get their footing back here from the charity stripe. And her 8th free throw of the day is no good. She's started 6 of 8. Akinwole out. Lamia in Tutway in. And Taps trying the 2nd of 2. Taps has 11 points. Javelina lead up to 3. Hannah Alcoyne getting ready to return for Wade Scott. Bersang and Pippin's try-on. The leading scorers in this game with 15, and Pippin's trying to add 2 more. Falcons within 1. This is the closest this game has been here in the second half. Metter taps. Taps lost it. Loose ball to Bersang. Bersang with Pippin's try-on and James. Gives it to James for the layup. Good. And the Falcons have their first second half lead. And this has been a 14-3 run for UT Permian Basin. Metter trying to answer. No good. So Lee's right back up for 2. 10 points for Brianna Solis. And for a redshirt freshman, she's had no problem breaking in. Out of bounds to the Javelinas. And a timeout for Wade Scott at the 2:17 mark. Brianna Solis with 10 points and 8 boards. Closing in on another double-double. Javelinas with the ball back, ahead by 1. Late in the third quarter. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Tamook inbounding it. Reve Payne in the front court. Payne has 6 points to her credit in this one. Taps. Team's leading scorer with 11. Alcoin with a pass deflected. It comes to Taps anyway. Out for Payne. Metter will try another 3. In and out. Ball out of bounds off of Solis. And Pippin's try-on returns. I didn't even realize she'd been taken out of the game, but she comes in for Alexandria Washington. In Tutway, Pippin's try-on. Out for James, trying the jumper. Metter corrals it. Metter content to back it out. A double team quickly closes in, but she gets rid of it to Reve Payne. Payne with all 3 Javelina assists this evening. Alcoin for Metter. And Payne draws the foul on Berry. That's her 3rd. And boy, that'll drive a coach absolutely nuts. Three on Berry, and with the Falcons not being over the limit, here's Payne at the free throw line. This is her 2nd time there. She hit 1 of 2 the first time. And the first one cooperates. 7 points for Reve Payne. .120 to go. Reve Payne can't hit the second one. Akinwole the rebound. Akinwole with Pippin's try-on. Bersang on the floor, as well as Alexandria Washington and Christian James. For the Javelinas, Kanya, Solis, Alcoin, Payne, and Metter. And a turnover will give the ball back to the Javelinas. An offensive foul on Akinwole. That's 2 on her. This will not come with free throws, obviously. But Tamook does regain possession. Payne to Kanya to Taps. Taps heads right and has the ball stripped. Loose ball comes to Pippin's trying on a foul on Alcoin. That's not the worst foul in the world. It's just a little bit of an annoyance. Javelina still have a foul to give, and that's just Alcoyne's first. 49.8 to go. We'll see if UTP tries to get a quick shot off and go for a 2-for-1. Trailing by 2. Pippin's try on. A whistle and a foul inside. And that is on Christina Kanya. 2 on her. That's Tamouf's last foul to give here in the quarter. And they do call that a shooting foul, however, so foul to give or not. Pippin's trying with a chance to tie the game. And the senior from Dallas hits the first one, 18 points for her. She has been ultra aggressive at driving the lane, trying to find shots in the paint. She is 6 for 16 so far in this game, which is actually better than her season shooting average of 34%. And we are all tied. 19 points for the senior forward. Javelinas cannot hold for the last shot, about 10 seconds separating game clock from shot clock. Taps. Into the corner for Payne. Taps. Working on Pippin's try on layup, too strong. Rebound tipped out. Corralled by the Falcons. And Morris draws the foul on Reve Payne at 17.3. And with the Hogs over the limit, 2 free throws coming up. And this official closest to the scores table has not granted these players much leeway as far as contact going down the court. Morris first to 2 is good, 73%. That's her first point of the evening. And the Falcons with a 2-point edge. Taps for Kanya, 10 seconds to shoot. Back to Taps. Alcoyne out of the corner for a 3. That one's short. Washington at the buzzer, no good. But the Falcons end this quarter by scoring 18 of the last 24 points to take a 2-point lead. And they'll go into the fourth quarter ahead 49-47 here at the Spec. The Falcons looking for their second LSC win. And they have a lead with 10 minutes left to play. We'll be right back at the Spec. UT Permian Basin basketball as we start the fourth quarter. Javelina scored the first 7 points of that quarter, and the Falcons scored 18 of the final 24. To jump ahead by 2, Bersang. James with it. Bersang double teamed by Payne and Metter. And Metter called for her 4th foul, beside herself at the call. And I think Wade Scott looking for an explanation, but Kanya in for Metter as it is. And Menor has not been granted much leeway by the officials tonight. James has that one deflected, but it comes to Pippin's trying anyway. Pippin's trying a 31% shooter from beyond the arc. He has not hit a three tonight. And we get a foul inside, I believe, on Akinwole. That will be 3 on her. And these fouls are piling up for these teams in a hurry. Just to give you a landscape of the foul situation for both teams. Berry, Akinwole, and Rivera. 2 of those 3 players are starters for UTPB. They have 3 fouls each. For the Javelinas, Menor has 4. No one else has more than 2. Tapsky, Ryle, Payne, and Kanya each with 2. Out of bounds to the Falcons. And in Tutway back into the game for Akinwole. And Chloe Lane in for the Javelinas, replacing Al Coyne. Lane, as I mentioned before, is averaging close to 15 points a game coming in over the course of her last 7 contests. Is at 4 tonight. Shot by Pippin's trying is blocked. 2 free throws coming up. That foul goes against Chloe Lane. That's her second. And 2 against Tamuk. And I think it suffices to say both teams have been upset with some of the officiating decisions tonight. Pippin's try-on misses the first of 2. And I mean, that could certainly be said a lot, but these officials, no one gives the officials enough of a benefit of the doubt considering how difficult this game is to officiate. 1 of 2 for Pippin's try-on. 20 points for her. This is her 5th game at 20 points or better. Falcons ahead by 3. Ball stolen by James. Can't keep it in bounds. Taps. Now with the Javelinas with a little bit of a 5-on-4. Lane right to the basket for 2 points. 2 much-needed points for the Javelinas. And this really has been an outstanding basketball game so far. Rivera. The 3 over Lane. She's got 6 points, both of them on trays. Falcons ahead by 4 now. They're 5 of 18 from 3. Lane into the corner. Back to Chloe Lane. Back into the corner, a 3 from Kanya, no good. Rebounded by James. Pippin's try-on. Versang, who has 15 points. Also with 5 assists, a game-high 5 assists to her credit. Pippin's trying on Kanya from the free throw line for 2. And she has found the range right now. 6-point lead for the Falcons. Javelina's trying to find a rhythm now on offense. Lane inside, and a foul is called. And that's 2 on in Tutway and 2 on UT Permian Basin. Akinwole and Morris check back in. Both coaches using their benches liberally. And now Bersang comes off, and the Falcons, I think, only have 4 players on. Am I wrong? Oh, no. Sorry, I did miss one.
Stagger! KJ, stay!
Taps.
KJ!
For Solis. Solis draws a foul on Pippin's try-on, who was convinced that she had all ball, and that would have been a jump ball. And now they're actually going to call that on Morris. My mistake. And 2 shots coming up for Brianna Solis. Solis still looking for her 2 rebounds to get to a double-double. First free throw, cans it. She's 3 of 3 from the charity stripe this evening. Trying to turn this into a 4-point game here with the first quarter of the final quarter just about gone. Kanye with the rebound, right back up for 2. 5 points for the Coastal Bend College transfer. Morris left wide open and takes advantage for the Falcons. Lane to Taps. Chloe Lane, a long 3. Nothing but net for her. 9 points for Chloe Lane. And a turnover for the Falcons. We'll give possession back to the Javelinas. And a carry called on the Falcons to give the Javelinas the ball with an opportunity to tie or take the lead. Reve Payne to Kanya. Taps. Wants to go inside, and a foul called on the outside. And that one is 3 on Taya Morris. And in case you were wondering, we have had 34 personal fouls called in this game. Boy, it's only seemed like more. Taps. Out to Kanya. Kanya left open. Heads in for the jumper. Couldn't get the roll. Solis trying to bat the rebound out. Couldn't do it. And now Kanya a little bit too aggressive on defense. Called for the foul. And I believe that's 3 on her. And indeed it is. 2-point lead for the Falcons. Looking for their second win in their last 3 games after starting the LSC schedule 0-14. Rivera. Pass right into the arms of Solis. Payne willing to slow it down. Taps. Kanya for the lead. No good, rebounded by Rivera. Rivera has it stolen by the combination of Taps and Lane. To Chloe Lane, right to the basket for a bucket and a foul. It might have been a slow start for Chloe Lane, but she has picked it up here in the second half. Alexandria Washington in for China Rivera. That foul, by the way, puts the Falcons at 5 already here in the fourth quarter. That was the 3rd on in Tutway. And Lane misses the chance to give her team the lead, but she tied it up. She's got 11. Pippin's try on for Washington. Lane trying to play cautious defense. Layup too strong. Rebounded by Solis. Taps. Heads right in for 2. 13 points for Rachel Taps. Washington from the free throw line. Rebounded by Bersang, right back up, no good. Right there for the putback is in Tutway. And we get a timeout for UTPB. So in Tutway's first 2 points, shaved the deficit to a pair. 61-59 with 5:23 to go in a timeout for UT Permian Basin. And those 2 points by Tutway, that interrupts a 10-2 Javelina run. That took them from down by 6 to up 4. Now a 2-point game. And Kylie Pippin's trying with 22 points. While the Javelinas have 3 players in double figures, including Rachel Taps, who's a single point off of her season high. Chloe Lane and Brianna Solis has 11. Solis 1 rebound away from a double-double with 11 points and 9 rebounds. And the Javelinas trying to earn a win without the services of the leading scorer, Brene Thompson, who left the game in the first half and has not returned. For Solis, her previous double-doubles came against MSU Texas on January 24th, 16 and 12, and she had 13 points and 15 rebounds against West Texas on January 10th in Tmook's upset of the then number 2 ranked team. Lane, Taps, Solis, Kanya, and Payne on the floor for the Javelinas. For the Falcons, Pippins, Tryon, James, Washington, Bersang, and in Tutway. Excuse me. Taps for Chloe Lane. Kanya out of the corner. Solis underneath for 2. 13 points for Brianna Solis. Pippins Tryon trying to add to her game high. 22 instead of layup by Alexandria Washington. Her first 2 points. 63-61. Payne, who has 7. Out for Chloe Lane. Lane gets her defender in the air. Will try a long 2. Boarded by James. Bersang. Washington trying to work on Chloe Lane. Steps back. Shot no good. In Tutway ties it up. Ahead to Payne in the front court. Payne draws the foul and will shoot 2. And that is number 1 on Washington. Obviously the Falcons now over the limit. And Payne for 2. 2 of 4 from the free throw line tonight. Entered this game as a 78% free throw shooter. Akinwole and Morris come in replacing in Tutway and Washington. And Payne manages to hit 1 of 2. Javelinas have the lead. Morris for Bersang. Morris back inside over Lane, and shot gives the Falcons the lead. Taps for the bucket, no good, but she does draw the foul on Christian James. And James, like a number of players in this game, incredulous at the foul called against her. As it is, that's her first. And Rachel Taps can tie the game or give her team the lead. And Rachel Taps has matched her season high with 14 points. Danielle Metter in for Chloe Lane. And Lane was involved in a somewhat animated discussion with Wade Scott before coming off the court. 2 free throws from Taps. Javelinas back in front, 66-65. Morris. Morris guarded by Danielle Metter. We've had 8 ties and 9 lead changes in this game. Pippins Tryon over Kanya, no good. Solis for the rebound. She's got her double-double now. Reve Payne on the Javelinas with 3 minutes to go, trying to build on a 1-point lead. Payne for the bucket and the foul. What a shot by Reve Payne. And she can make this a 4-point game.
Play one. Sam, where are you? In one. Talk about it. Sam.
That was the 4th foul on Taya Morris.
Two has 4 fouls.
Payne misses the free throw, but the Javelinas now up by 3. Under 3 minutes to go. Morris, who has 6 points, trying to find an open look. Out for James. James with a floater. Rebounded. And a travel will turn it over. 68-65. The largest lead by either team in this game was 10 points by the Javelinas. That came right at the start of this third quarter. Neither team has had a lead of bigger than 6 points here in the final period. Pass stolen by the Javelinas. Kanya content to slow it down. Rachel Taps playing maybe her best game of the season tonight in a crucial spot for her team. Kanya back to Payne. Metter. Taps gets the ball off of the deflection by Morris. Payne will try a 3. Reve Payne! 11 points. Her 3rd highest output of the year. And a timeout by UT Permian Basin. 2:02 to go. A 6-point Javelina lead. As we tick down towards the final 120 seconds, we'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. Four Javelinas in double figures. Rachel Taps with 15, same with Brianna Solis. 13 now for Reve Payne. And 11 points for Chloe Lane. And as I mentioned, Solis with 15 points and 5 boards to go with it. Taps and Payne also tied for a team high with 3 assists, 3 steals for Chloe Lane. Again, the foul situation for both teams. Danielle Metter has 4 for the Javelinas, and she's on the floor right now. 3 for Christina Kanya. For UT Permian Basin, they have China Rivera and Taya Morris, who each have 4. Akinwole and Berry have 3, but Berry hasn't seen the floor since the first half. With that 3 by Reve Payne, the Javelinas are 6 for 20 now from beyond the arc. The free throw line's been a bit of a bugaboo for the Javelinas here in the fourth quarter. They're 4 of 8 and 17 of 25 on the night. And I believe the score was just changed to 69-65. And boy, does that change everyone's perspective on this game. And an explanation from public address announcer Glenn Schultz said an inadvertent call. After an inadvertent call, 2 points were added to the Javelinas score. And 2 of the referees at the scores table, as is Wade Scott. A number of people just to my left as we try and get everything sorted as far as the score here. Obviously, the most important thing is to get it right, but no team is just going to let what they thought were 2 points on the scoreboard of theirs be taken away. And now apparently we are good to go. As it is, Temuco with a 2-possession lead. It's obviously 4 points compared to 6. James gets called for 5 seconds. And that'll give Temuco the ball right back. A second did come off the clock. It's a 2:01, but no one seemed to pay it any mind. Metter to Kanya. UTPB working the double team on defense as we've seen for most of this game. Fighting for a turnover. They have forced 16, and those turnovers have resulted in 20 points. Payne. Metter. Kanya. Kanya has that one blocked. Grabbed by Rivera. Bersang out of the front court. Tick down towards 90 seconds to play. Bersang from the free throw line. Rebounded by Metter. And Metter draws the foul. For Metter now, that makes 7 rebounds in this game. And 2 free throws coming up. Metter with 5 points. Hit both of her free throws, her only time at the line prior to this. That foul was the 3rd on Sarah Bersang. And the Falcons have been over the limit for about 5 minutes now. And Juliet Akinwole checking in for Intutway. So Metter trying to restore the 6-point lead that the Javelinas thought they had a moment ago. Free throw no good. 70-65 the score. 80 seconds to go. Pippin's try-on right in for a layup that's too strong. Rebound grabbed by Solis, and the Javelinas would be wise to slow it down a little bit right here. And they can take this under a minute and then some. Taps almost lost it. But the Javelinas still in control as we go under a minute. And now you'd expect the Javelinas to try and look for a shot. Payne with 7 to shoot, just stays in the front court. Metter with the shot clock at 4. Kanya. Payne will try a 3. That one's long, rebounded by the Falcons, and that, I believe, will be Metter's 5th foul. And that was the timeout for UTPB. Apparently there was, I didn't see any signal made about a foul being called. Obviously that would be Metter's 5th. And yeah, that is her 5th. Indeed, that was the call against Metter. .6 on the clock. And UTPB assistant coach Sam Brenner at the table as we all try and figure out the situation. And it now says on the scoreboard that was Metter's foul, and that would be it for her for the night. The official showing coming out with our official score, possibly regarding Metter's foul situation. Ray Booth to the scorer's table as the officials try and figure out this situation. And the referee, upset with something involving the scoring decision. And all this now with 43.6 to play. And the officials directing the Javelinas now to their bench. And bless the hearts of the people who run this operation, including my boss, the assistant athletic director for sports information, John Montoya. They have done their best on to try and make sure everything is run smoothly. There's been a few issues that have cropped up in regards to a few things, whether it's the time or the score or now the foul situation. And meanwhile, a few finals, or 4 finals from around the Lone Star Conference. Texas women's defeated Cameron 71-67. West Texas won over Tarleton State 76-62. Angelo State with an easy 88-51 victory over Western New Mexico. And A&M Commerce defeating Eastern New Mexico by a score of 62-55. So this game, the only game out of the 5 scheduled Lone Star Conference women's game. And now the officials trying to sort out the timeout situation, I believe for the Javelinas, or possibly for the Falcons.
Visitors on this side. Got you. Okay. There's one there at the.
And all this coming with 43.6 seconds to play.
And this is in the what?
That's the fourth quarter.
First quarter.
In the second half of this game. 70-65 is the score for the Javelinas. This game was really been back and forth from the start. The Falcons controlled the action a little bit early. They were led by as many as 7. They were up 18-11. That's the largest lead they have held in this game, and that came in the first half. That came in the first quarter. The Javelinas came back to retake the lead in the second quarter. They led by as many as 10 early in the third. The Falcons came back to take the lead late in the third quarter. And they led by 2 heading into the fourth. The Javelinas scoring to UTPB 23-16 here in the fourth quarter. The Falcons have led by as many as 6 in the final period. The Javelinas have led by as many as 5. And that 5-point lead is the one they hold right now, leading by a score of 70-65. And didn't you guys just tell my assistant I had 2 left? 43.6 to go. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. And so now here we go, finally back to basketball with 43.6 on the clock. Rivera into Akinwole, back to Bersang. Three from Rivera won't go. Rebound tipped out, grabbed by Bersang. Falcons need to get a shot up quickly. Bersang for three. That one in and out. Rebounded by Chloe Lane, and the Falcons are going to have to foul. And the Javelinas call timeout, 23.7 to play. And the timeout with 23.7 to go. You'd have to imagine the Falcons have no other choice but to foul here. Trailing by 5. And so whichever team loses this game is going to be more than a little bit upset about more than what simply happened on the basketball court over the course of this night. And like I said, blessed with the people who are here are doing their best, but I think everyone expected a little bit higher standard over the course of this basketball game, especially here in the fourth quarter. 23.7 to play. And the Javelinas to inbound it after the timeout.
This way.
And now Taps ready to toss it in.
Switch all, switch all. Come on, KJ.
Taps with UTPB trying to give the foul, and Rivera does with exactly 20 seconds on the clock. That one goes against Rivera. And I believe that is Rivera's 5th foul. No, they said that's her 4th. I had that as Rivera's 4th on my scorebook, but the stats had it down as her 5th. Two shots for Rachel Taps. And Taps trying to add to her, as I mentioned before, her season high of 15. Bersang in for Morris. And the second one is good from Taps. Berry into the front court. Layup no good. Rebounded by Payne. A foul given by UTPB. And with 11.1 to go, the Javelinas, I think, can finally relax and put this one in the win column. It was never easy, but the Hogs prepared to break their 7-game losing streak. And Payne adding to her total. She's trying to finish this night with 15 points. This will be, regardless, her 2nd highest total of the year. And in a bizarre and confusing, and at times for both teams, frustrating night, the Javelinas will exit the arena with the victory. The Dubuque's 7-game losing streak is over. They beat UTPB at home. The Javelinas go to 9-15 on the season. They're 6-11 in the conference. UTPB, they fall to 4-21, 1-16 in the LSC. We'll take a quick break, come right back and wrap this up. This is the Javelina Sports Network. We'll be right back. A 73-65 victory for the Javelinas at home. Duke improves their home record to 6-7 on the season. And with Western New Mexico's loss at Angelo State, the Javelinas now in sole possession of 8th place and the final spot in the Lone Star Conference tournament tonight. And they will meet that Western New Mexico team here on Saturday. That'll be a 2 p.m. game right here at the Spec. And again, a game that was not pretty from either team's perspective, but the Javelinas could care less. As long as it's a win, it's all they need. Duke shooting 39% of the night, 23 of 59. And the teams ended up about even in rebounding after the Javelinas started with an early edge in that category. But the Javelinas with some clutch shots at the end, some big shots from the likes of Danielle Metter and Reve Payne, from Rachel Taps. Brianna Solis with a double-double, 13 and 11, her third of the season. Chloe Lane with 11 points. She's been in double figures now 6 of her last 8 games. And for the Javelinas, a much-needed victory as they continue the race for the conference tournament. Taps finishes with a team-high 16, hitting 10 of 13 free throws. Reve Payne with 15 huge points, her second highest output of the season. Lane and Solis finishing with 13 and 11 respectively. A hard-fought win against a game team here at the Spec, but the Javelinas just managed to outfight UTPB at the end to pick up the win. And a huge credit to this team that lost its leading scorer after Brene Thompson played just 6 minutes in the first half of this game. But Taps and Payne and company picking up the slack, and the Javelinas earning their 9th win of the season. Now the second half of our doubleheader, just moments away from starting. The Javelina men against UTPB. The Javelina men trying to break a losing streak of their own and secure a spot in the conference tournament. Here from the Spec, we'll take a break. We'll be back with Game 2.